Oh, okay, we're still going. All right, that's cool. That's how it should start. So I'm Ben. Ladies, welcome. I want to say thank you so much for coming here in support of my amazing fiance. I am the groom, the soon-to-be luckiest man alive. You know, I've told this story a lot, and it just makes me happy. So I'm excited to share this with you today from a male's perspective to an all-female perspective. And I apologize, I'm sweaty, we've been playing volleyball. I'm terrible at volleyball. Nikki hates it because I'm a peacock and you gotta let me fly. But I met Nikki in July of 2014. I was in college in Daytona and I flew home to Cincinnati to go to the race with my dad. Me and my dad work the race every year and it's a lot of fun. And the night before the race, I had to get up at 6 a.m., but I want to go out and try to see if I know anybody. And so I go to Village Tavern, the local hot spot, and I walk into the bar, and I'm by myself. I don't know anybody. And I see at the far end of the bar, I see this blonde. And my world just stops. And the bar empties, and it's just her and me. And then everything comes back to reality. I'm like, oh my God, like heart. And it's like, how do I talk to this girl? So I'm not being a creeper, but I'm like kind of checking her out from a distance. And I realize that she's with a bachelorette party. And here's the issue with a bachelorette party from a guy's perspective. A single guy wanting to talk to a girl at a bachelorette party. There's like 3 types of women that go to a bachelorette party. You've got like the normal girls who are happy, they're in relationships, steady jobs, what have you. And I assume that Nikki was that person. Like, she's so beautiful. How could she not have a guy in her life? And then you got the bachelorette who's woo crazy. And then you've got the other girls. The girls that are single. The girls that are older than the bride. The girls that are in a man-hating / men pay attention to me kind of mood. And it's almost impossible to approach a bachelorette party because those girls will attack you first. So I kind of follow them outside and I'm looking at them and I'm like, you know what, it's just not gonna happen. She looked at me twice, didn't even like pay me any, never mind. I was like, well, this is gonna happen. So I go to leave. And as I'm walking out the door, an old friend from high school shows up named Jessica Ventus. And I swam with Jessica. She's an old friend, great friend. We knew each other forever. And I'm leaving, and she's like, no, you can't leave. You have to stay. And I was like, well, I have to get up at 6 a.m. Like, I'm not going to stay. She's like, what do I have to do to get your stay? I was like, well, if you know her, then I'll stay. And she's like, I just happen to know that girl. I was like, I'm in. Let's do this. You had to introduce me, though. So we walk over, and in the midst of the bachelorette party, and you get these glares. Who are you? And Jessica introduced me to Nikki, and I was so excited. I was like, hi. I wanted to meet you all night. Hi. And Nikki's like, okay, this is weird. So we start kind of talking. I meet the rest of the bachelorette party, and then it gets that like lull where no one's talking. That really awkward moment where you're kind of like pivoting on your feet. So to try to break the ice, I'm like, well, hey guys, here's a funny story. In high school, during swimming, I kind of had a little crush on Jessica. Ha 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 ha. Well, no. Nikki hears this and she's like, I've seen this movie. That dog just ain't gonna hunt. And Nikki runs. She's gone. She leaves. And I'm instantly heart crushed, broken. I'm sad. Here I am. I blew this chance. And so I leave. I'm just a wreck. And I get the next morning, go to the race, and we're at the race and we're taking pictures, and I get a Facebook message from Jessica saying, hey, what the heck, why'd you leave? Nikki thought you were cute, you should have stayed and talked to her. This is her name, Facebook her, see what happens. So I Facebook Nikki and send her a friend request and send her a message and start chatting with her, and Nikki's very standoffish. She's like, this guy's weird. And I'm trying to talk to her, and I'm like, I offer to get her number, and she's like, no. So for like a couple weeks, this is going on, and eventually I crack the shell, and she's opening up to me a little bit more, and I ask her, I'm like, hey, I'm coming home for 2 weeks in August. Can I take you out on a date? Because that would just be the bee's knees if I could do that. So she says, fine, yes, you can take me on a date. So, and then I get her phone number. So we start talking to the phone. And I'm so happy. And I try to FaceTime her, but she's like, no FaceTime. I don't want to see her face. I'm like, no, see her face. Anyway, so I'm riding, I ride my motorcycle from Florida all the way to Cincinnati. And the whole time I'm riding, I'm thinking about our date. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I get home on Sunday, but our date's not till Thursday. Like, this sucks. So I call her. I'm like, hey, I want to see you before Thursday. Like, is there anything that we can do to where I can come over and maybe, I know you have your daughter and that's priority number one, and I would never try to change that. So if there's any way I can see you before that, please let me know. And she's like, hey, you know, you can come over Sunday night for a little bit and, you know, we'll chat and get to know each other. I was like, great. So I'm on the motorcycle and I get home and I see Mom. I'm like, Mom, high five. I have a date. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, I'm sorry. I love you, but I'm bouncing. So Mom gives me a bottle of wine and we go over and I got my GPS and I'm like, cruising. All right, cool. I get to her house and her house is so cool. I'm like, wow, this girl's got it together. And I knock on the door and she opens it and I can see that like it's right now. Like, there she is, like beautiful, gorgeous, like mind-blowingly. She's even prettier than I remember. But like, she's so beautiful, it's almost intimidating. And I don't get embarrassed easily, and I don't like not talk easy, as you can tell we're talking. Anyway, so we start talking and we open the bottle of wine and everything is just clicking perfectly. Like, just everything that you imagine, or like, you know how you always like have something pictured in your mind when you meet somebody or when you go someplace, and then 9 times out of 10 it's never how you imagined it. Well, this was one of those 1 out of 10 times where it was exactly how I hoped it would happen. And, you know, just over those 2 weeks we got to know each other. We spent all of our time together. I get to meet her friends who are putting this thing on for her. Played volleyball, because peacocks, they fly, and I'm one of them. And, you know, we decided, like, I knew, like, I told her I loved her during those 2 weeks. Like, we were out to dinner, I was like, just, I have to say something. I had to like let this girl know, because I'm going back to Florida. Like, hey, long distance, that never works. So it's like, I have to pull out all those stops so this girl knows that I am serious. And I remember after that first night when I told my mom about it, I was like, Mom, I'm gonna marry her. This is it. Over, done. The girl, bar none, out of here. And after those 2 weeks, we're like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is the plan. You know, talked to her, met her dad and her mom and everybody, and Shannon, and everything was just perfect. It was just how you imagine it, how you hope it is, and how it should be. You know, and me coming from a military background, I have a past. I've been